7,775 pounds, 7775. This is an Eagle 24.5 CKTS. Those numbers probably don't mean much to you. Center kitchen triple slide. And that's what's cool about this one. This is the biggest little fifth wheel I think you're ever gonna find. So now tell me, before we get too far along here, when you hear a small fifth wheel, when you see the model number starts with 24, what do you picture the living room to look like? You're thinking tiny, cozy, small, right? Well, I think cozy can still apply, but tiny, small, cramped, restrictive, I don't think any of those words apply here. And that's what's really cool about this one. This is why I say it's like the biggest little fifth wheel you are ever going to see. You've got awesome window coverage in this. That, by the way, is a tri-fold hide-to-bed sleeper sofa in case you have some guests over. For the most part, I think this is a really nice 1 or 2 person coach, but it's very capable of having somebody else over for the weekend. You've got black pleated shades all the way through. I like how the windows are all, valanced and curtained up so that you don't have a lot of light bleed through there. The RV has an excellent hot-cold climate package, by the way. Eagle HT was one of the first things in this size and class to actually test and prove every one of their models hot-cold camp capable, which I think is pretty sweet. Now, the entertainment. At a glance, it almost feels like an afterthought, but here's the thing. If you sit down on the sofa, which is where I'm at right now, tell me that's not comfortable. If you're sitting over here at the table, you're facing forward, that's not bad. The TV can pivot around. So if you want to sit at the table with like a Bluetooth keyboard and have a computer plugged into that screen and do some mobile work camping, this thing could get it done. It's a very deceptively flexible rig. And again, for such a small size, it feels nice and large in here. Now, up top, what you're going to see, well, actually not see, because you won't see the square, so you won't hear the air. That has a whisper-ducted 15,000 BTU air system, and all of the cabinetry here, it is all pocket-screwed lumber core, so it's not, staples into beaver puke. It's stuff that, if you're really going to tow this and bounce it down the road, it'll hold up. And they had to get crafty with the kitchen. But they got crafty with the kitchen. That's our converter panel, by the way, on the left side over there. Little mini storage pocket below it. For the most part, though, your kitchen storage is going to be accessible off of this door, which I think is just begging for like a big wastebasket or something like that. The L-shaped peninsula countertop, like at a glance, this looks like a small kitchen, but if you really start looking, there's actually a lot of really good prep space here, even when you're using the sink. 2/3 of the countertop always remains accessible and available. And I guess it's not a dedicated, there's not a thing you really point to in here that says the pantry. You've got some cupboards overhead, but there's enough of them. They're all in the right place. I don't feel like this kitchen is lacking whatsoever. What about you? Now, up here in the bathroom, we have a very different kind of rain-blocking vent fan. They still use something like that today, just a little different variety, but look at how thick the roof is. That is one of the things I actually always liked about that fan, was not the fan itself, but the insights that it allowed you to glean on the construction of the RV. Because you get to see how thick the roof is. There's actually double layers of batten insulation there, a radiant barrier layer to help keep everything cool and comfortable. It is like I said, for a small fifth wheel, it has an awesome climate package. Now, during the day, that little Labatt blue light up top doesn't do a whole lot for us, although that backlit morning mirror sure looks good. In the evening hours, though, that little blue light or that backlit mirror, those things can be awesome for helping you navigate the RV without flipping on a bright light, where let's say you wake up in the middle of the night and have to use the bathroom. You don't want to disturb your partner. Well, now you don't have to. This is a dual entry bed and bath, but you haven't really seen a lot of bathroom linen space. That's one of the cool things about this over here. The upper deck slide actually extends over into, I guess you call it the hallway space, although there is a privacy door that can close off the master bedroom after this. So that doorway does have a door that can close. So, it's it's not like you got to worry about somebody coming in and looking at you. Now, jumping to the other side of that double pass-through exchange, whatever you want to call it, looking at the rest of the slide here, this is going to actually be our primary closet storage space, but notice how you're still getting a breeze window here in this slide. That's something, I don't know if Eagle HT did it first, but they've definitely been the most prolific with it, and I don't see a lot of other people doing it with any sort of frequency. Up front here, this is a 60 by 80 True Queen. It is nice and easy to walk around. There is some easy lift storage below it as well. And instead of talk about it, I wanted to actually take the time to show you, and for a couple reasons. One, there's a small step here when you transition into the bed deck. Nothing major though, but look at all of the storage space you have under this thing. That's huge. Like, that's like an under travel trailer bed space. And then in the kitchen, you saw a pair of chairs. What if you're going to have those guests? Well, that table has an extension, and you do have a pair of folding guest chairs there you can hide away. The RV does have roof solar prep. We'll peek at that in a minute, but that's where the charge controller would be located. And the folks actually added a TV up here in the bedroom, so you can keep updated on your Netflix when you're, winding down for the end of the night. Now, the small size really lends itself to towing and going. The travel accessibility, though, it's good for travel stops. If you're going to do a travel sleepover, you need to make sure you can at least open your dinette slide. Otherwise, you totally lose access to the upstairs. But when I said it's good for travel stops, what do I mean by that? Take a look at this. If you look at the position of the refrigerator, it always remains readily accessible and available. So if you just need to stop real quick, grab a quick sandwich, grab a pop, as we call it here in Michigan, or a soda, or a Coke, what do you call it where you're from? Do you call it something other than pop, soda, or Coke? I don't know. I never considered that there might be other names for it. Those are just the three that I always hear. But you get the idea. I'm sorry. I had a squirrel moment there. You can get to the fridge. That's my point. I could have summed this up a lot quicker. I don't know if it's just the way the light's hitting it. I don't know if it's the blue sky. I think a lot of it is just the fact that it's a good-looking fifth wheel. But this thing looks amazing. And I think it looks almost even better by contrast to the raw construction pit that you see over there in the background. We have basically, we're doubling our size here at Advantage 1. We, at times, have been so full up, we've had to turn folks away. Said, hey, we'd like you to make one of those videos for our RV. We'd like you to sell our camper for us, and we just didn't have the space. So we knocked down the old building. We put a newer, bigger, better building up in the back with some service bays so we can do even more work for more people. And by contrast, man, this thing looks terrific down here. You've got an aftermarket upgraded Rotoflex pin box on this, by the way. That is something right there to help take a lot of the shock and the jolt out. Plus, this does have a MORryde little suspension dampener. So, factor in the lighter weight, shorter size of this. This is going to be just an excellent tower and goer right here. Now, what do you need to tow it? That is a big question. A lot of people are going to ask, is this half-ton towable? The only answer I can give you to that is maybe, because there's too many half-tons with way too many different capacities on this. I can never give you a definitive yes, no, this is definitely half-ton towable. Some half-tons with an appropriate payload package are going to handle this. Most half-tons have plenty of towing capacity. If you don't know the difference, towing capacity is how much you can pull going down the road. Payload capacity is how much weight you can handle, like down in the bed of the truck. That's the simplest way. It's not exactly correct, but that's pretty much enough to give someone who doesn't know the difference an idea there. And I'll tell you what, me and this thing have something in common. We've both got a surprisingly big belly. Now, sometimes when you see a slide out under a big awning like that, you kind of freak out a little bit. But that is a tiny kitchen slide. It's shallow. It's not very wide. Frankly, I just look at that awning like a free slide awning topper myself. This has the Goodyear tire package on it. Those good-looking aluminum wheels shining for us. The speakers, you might have noticed, are mounted way down in the skirt. So that you don't blow the neighbors away with your music. And this does have a 3,000-pound towing hitch on the back, not just accessory hitch. Eagle HT was the first mainstream fifth wheel to standardize an actual factory-installed towing hitch. They are the ones that really set that trend. That's one of the reasons they are even still to this day a little heavier weight than most other brands. You have to really bulk up the chassis for that. But there's other benefits to that if you think about it. Because if the chassis, if the structure is bulked up, think of that like your foundation of your house. If you want a solid, reliable house, you start with a solid, reliable foundation. Just by virtue of the fact that the hitch is on the back, they had to bulk it up more. It's just going to be able to handle more stress. And that, frankly, goes hand in hand with what you're going to see up here on the roof, or actually, rather, what you don't see. And that is the fact that we're walking on plywood instead of OSB. And by the way, this is also roof solar ready and portable side solar ready. So if you want to, you could build yourself one heck of an off-grid package with this thing. Now, if you're not really sure what kind of stuff your vehicle can handle, give us a call. This is something that, again, some half tons are going to be able to handle. The biggest delimiting factor on this one is not going to be your vehicle's towing capacity, because it's not the biggest, heaviest thing. People with half tons tow heavier travel trailers all the time. Maybe whether they should or they shouldn't is up for debate, but they do. The fact on this one is it still has that closet slide up front. It still has a pretty decent hitch weight. We want to make sure that that's not going to overload your payload capacity, because then you start pushing back or down on the back of your vehicle too much. The front of the vehicle gets too light. You start kind of floating and porpoising a little bit. You can't brake and stop properly. Like, everything is overloaded a little bit right there. We just want to make sure that doesn't happen. So if you need any assistance with that, you let us know. We will always make sure you put your safety before the sale. Because if this ain't the right one for you, we will find you something else. Chances are we might have something else laying around. We have all kinds of inventory floating through all the time. And all you need to do is give us a ring. We'll go to work for you. Short of that, let me know what you think of this one. And if you haven't done so already, appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have you with us on the next one. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and have an A1 day, everyone.